We are calling this Out of the Closet.
Out in the movies.
Oh. Hello. Welcome to Boys Love Presents, a brand new series here at the studio. We are calling this movie review series Out at the Movies.
Out at the movies.
But you know what? We'll watch a little straight movie too. Don't you fret.
Yeah, we don't want to. We don't want you guys to feel left out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
watch Steel Magnolias again. and talk
Well,
about
that's
it.
a queer film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I've never
It's written
seen...
by, the guy who wrote Steel Magnolias is gay.
Yeah.
It's like about his sister.
Yes.
It's about the women in his life.
He
growing
also
up
wrote
in the South.
He also wrote another thing, right?
Oh, that I don't know.
There was
Did he?
It's like another famous one. Oh, damn it.
Uh.
But the thing with Steel Magnolias, I've never seen Fried Green Tomatoes, and I know they kind of live in the same...
I think they're just both from the South. I've seen Fried Green Tomatoes once when I was very young.
Okay. Oh, wow. A young...
My mom owned it
Wow.
on VHS.
So that's how old we are.
Speaking of mothers, we are talking today about
Mothers, grandmothers,
motherhood,
becoming mothers.
honey, something that we're familiar with, obviously. We are talking about the new film that just was released called The Wedding Banquet.
Yes.
This is a remake of the 1993 film. I think it was 1993 by Ang Lee. This is directed by Andrew Ahn.
Famous for Fire Island.
Yes, his most recent work before this was Fire Island. It stars Bowen Yang. It stars Lily Gladstone. It stars Kelly Marie Tran. This is Off the Dome, babe. It stars Han Gi-chan, our beloved.
Our beloved.
It stars Yoon Yo-jung.
Yin Jung. Joan Chen.
Joan Chen, is that the mom? Okay, Joan Chen. Great.
Stacked cast, honestly.
A stacked
I think I
cast.
remember when that came out, like that this movie was in production, that they were making a remake of this film. And it had like, I think Bowen and Kelly Marie Tran were like the names. So I was like, oh my God, okay, let's do it. A romp, a little lavender wedding romp.
Yeah.
But I thought it was they were I didn't know who the facade of the wedding was gonna be.
Well, because I've never seen the original. You've
yeah.
never seen the original. So I have nothing to compare this to
Yeah.
other than just like the
plot.
The
from
plot
that.
points
Yeah.
that I had like known in like basically like the log line of the film.
Yeah.
So we knew it was about like a sham wedding, basically. I do feel like I remember seeing the original like VHS cover at
Him.
Yes.
And then the two wedding, but he's like in the middle.
Yes, at like the movies, at like
Oh,
Blockbuster
okay.
or something. When I was young, because I feel like when I looked at the recently, I was like, oh, I think I've seen this before.
But what's the log line of this one, Adam? How did they refresh?
Well, they
Wedding
upped the
Banquet.
ante. So without giving too much away, the premise is that Bowen's character Chris and is dating Han Gi-chan's character, whose name is Min. And Min finds out from his very wealthy grandmother that in order to help the family business, he needs to come back to Korea, but he's in a relationship with Chris, so he doesn't want to come back. So he tells his grandmother, he basically lies and is like, "Oh, I'm getting married to a girl," because they live in the guest house of their very good friends Angela and Lee.
Kelly Marie,
which is Kelly Marie and
Lily Gladstone,
respectively. And they're a not married lesbian couple that are going through IVF.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is very costly.
Yes.
So there's a bonus of him being able to potentially fiscally help them with IVF if Kelly Marie Tran's character agrees to marry him. Angela.
Yeah.
That's the
guys. That's the sham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's all how does it work out?
How does it work out? Yeah, the shenanigans ensues.
What did you think?
I really did not know what to expect. I think the setup feels like we're going into it, and it is shenanigans, and then it's a lot of mishaps. What I didn't realize is that they really kind of go into deep things that I didn't realize were things that I could feel from the characters in this movie are like late 20s, maybe like that time where you're just about to.
I think he's the youngest.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all supposed to be mid to late 20s.
Yeah, Angela probably is. I think Aunt Lee is probably the oldest.
I think Chris, Angela, and Lee are all in their 30s.
Or in like closer to 30s.
I think they're in their 30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's that last
I think there's definitely an age gap between Chris and Min. Not just obviously visually, but like I think the point is that like Chris has a bit of he's like stalled.
Yes.
He's stalled out.
He's trying. Yes. I think that's kind of, they're on the brink of like kind of maturing, but they're all in their way stuck to like not wanting to go take the next step. I think like.
For sure, Angela and Chris.
For sure, the two two friends. And they kind of like don't push themselves to.
Correct. They're very comfortable.
Yes. There's a line that like Lee says that like, oh my God, you two are just the same. Just say something. Just say what you actually want.
It's a great moment.
That I think they kind of like enable one another to kind of, stay in the same place and not kind of take the next step in growing up.
Yeah.
Which I think is...
Failure to launch.
Yeah. It just felt watching it, I was like, I literally remember. Still, I feel like I still have some of that. I could feel that sense from this movie because they're laying a lot of like, obviously the IVF, like Angela and Lee are trying to establish a family now. Min, basically in the beginning of, because he knew his time is running out, like proposes to Chris, and Chris does not accept.
Correct, because then we wouldn't have the movie.
Yeah. So that also kind of becomes a parallel struggle, that the sham wedding is happening because Chris does not want to actually marry Min, or not ready yet.
I found this to be a very touching film.
Yeah.
I found it very cozy. It feels very... It's a similar to what I think is so wonderful about Fire Island is these characters are so realized that they don't feel like stereotypes and they don't feel like it doesn't always feel like we're going with the obvious joke for stuff. And I like how specific the situation is. I thought the stakes were perfectly raised
and like
still,
amount.
While still feeling like we're not blowing this small. This story is so small in its scope because it's just these two couples.
Yeah, live in one lot.
Yes, on the same lot.
Literally,
even.
Yeah.
And I really liked. I think the comedy's really good. I think it's all just painted with such a light brush. And I think, obviously, we for so long have just not had a ton of, I wouldn't necessarily call this a rom-com. The Chris and Min story technically is the rom-com here, but I think it's doing so much more than that.
Yeah.
And I think the themes it's exploring are so much more interesting that not that I think rom-coms you can't explore anything.
We're the number one lovers of rom-coms. Hello?
But I think that like it's so well-rounded that I think you can come and get like a full meal out of this film as opposed to just like snacking on, a little like Sunday afternoon, I'm doing the laundry, checking in. Like I was really invested in all four characters, even though they are extremely frustrating protagonists.
But that's, you fully gotta. You gotta be frustrated.
So one thing I for sure loved, and I would love for you to talk about because I'm white, is
no way.
This feels like you are.
I'm immigrant.
You are technically an immigrant.
Yes, yeah.
You were born in the Philippines.
Yes.
You moved here when you were in 8th grade. This 13. Feels like a very first gen Asian American story.
Totally.
Which I was like, I am fascinated as like, we've been together for a long time. So I am very fascinated in the like levels of
the differences.
Once you start
being more and more ingrained in America.
Where the changes are.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of at a moment in culture where I think that conversation is being brought up more generally than it used to be.
Just because more first generation are definitely in the arts and like being able to tell their stories a little more.
Yeah. I always find it so fascinating.
Yeah, I think so, especially as an immigrant too, because I think
and it's like the intersectionality
and then the intersection of queer. Yeah, I feel that same way too, because like I'm doing theater here in Chicago that's like Filipino theater specifically. And like we have conversations about like, is this connecting to the immigrants, the seniors that have come here? Or is this connecting to their children, the first generation that already have children? Like they've already laid down so many.
Yeah.
And all of their like priorities, their ideals, their values are so different. And like, I feel like first gen, the main thing really is understanding the sacrifice that like your family has done for you to be able to basically start fresh. Like you are a clean slate. And like that's the dream, that's the goal, but then you have the pressures of being able to fulfill that. Obviously, Angela's character, her mom, Joan, is a very like successful real estate agent. A mogul.
Don't point at me.
Well, you've dabbled in the industry.
Let's calm down. Let's all take a breath.
That I think like she definitely feels the pressure of like there is this person who is, idolized by the community in a way.
I think this movie is very smart in that it flips a lot of the things that you expect it to do. So her mom is very supportive of her and her partner.
She wins a P-Flag award on the first scene.
in the first like 10
for
minutes
being
of the
like an amazing parent,
an amazing ally to the queer community in Seattle. Yeah. But I also think as you move through the film, there's a bunch of that the movie does that I think is like what keeps you invested and makes it feel like it's not. You aren't aware of everything that's going on.
Yes,
fully.
totally.
Should we talk about
performances? Absolutely.
Is there anyone that stood out to you?
I mean, should we just start with our beloved Hangi-chan? Okay, guys, this is why we're doing. I mean, this is
Bowen, you did great. Slay.
We love you, Bowen. Honey.
Good job, Kelly.
Great job, Kelly.
Oscar nominee.
Lily Gladstone and Oscar winner Yoon Yo Jung.
Yeah.
But
Hangi-chan.
I'm so proud of him.
I know.
Okay, for the BL connection, right? The Boys Love connection here is we've seen Hangi-chan personally, not in the channel.
Not for the channel. Because before we started the channel.
Before, yes. We saw Where Your Eyes Linger.
Yes.
Which I remember when we first started BL.
No, he has been on the channel.
Yes. Yes. So we watched Where Your Eyes Linger.
Iconic.
I think one of the best Korean BLs.
Easily top 5.
Easily
top 5.
And
sure.
I remember when we were first getting into BL, my coworker who had already seen a bunch, she was like, you have to watch this one. You will just eat up all the physical tension. The tension, honey. And it's funny, he played a chaebol there too. Like,
yes, he did.
And like, it also kind of like talks about like, well, you have to like become the next person in whatever this is. So you have to be exactly what we want you to be.
Correct.
So we watched that. You watched Ocean Like Me, yes. And then we watched him in a webtoon audition program, a BL webtoon audition program.
Was it even an audition program? Like there's no winning.
It was just like casting, a BL webtoon casting web series called Boy's Voice.
Correct.
And we watched it, and it's on our Patreon. You can watch all of it. And we had a good time.
Yeah.
And he was great. He was just so dreamy.
So I thought he is such a standout in this movie. And I think
I didn't expect him to have that much. I was watching the movie and I was like, wow, he's carrying a lot of...
He's like the third lead of the film.
Yeah, he's got so much.
He has so much to do. Does he have more than Lily Gladstone? Him and
Lily Gladstone
are kind of the same amount.
Yeah. But because the plot surrounds of him having to do the wedding, he's in a lot of scenes because then he has his grandmother come and you have to prove the wedding to the grandmother. So he's doing a lot of
he's a lot of plot.
Yeah.
I would say that his performance is totally winning. He is a complete ingenue in this role.
He's so charming.
It is like big eyes, so sweet. Like really, like the comedy is really funny.
Yeah.
I think he has great comic timing. He just is completely winning in this role.
And his jokes are it's just the right amount of like Americans are weird.
Yes.
And also like I want to be here. You know, like it's really interesting.
It really is like he loves Chris so much
Chris
that's
so
why he
much.
wants to
I
stay.
know.
It's so incredibly
That's what makes it
endearing.
frustrating because like Chris won't.
Failure to launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Bowen plays a bird watcher.
A birder.
Okay, birders. Very cute.
Yeah, I would say Bowen is great.
Yeah. I think Bowen and Kelly's chemistry really works. They feel like lifelong friends. They really feel like they've kind of relied on each other a lot. And it's frustrating because like they get in each other's way. But it's nice.
I think they
keep each other.
They help each other give into their worst instincts.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Which is very, I don't know, like millennial friendship. I just feel
it feels so millennial.
Right?
This movie is so millennial.
Totally.
It's so millennial. It's so millennial. I'm so sorry if you're a Gen Z and you hate millennials. This movie is so millennial.
Yeah.
But it also, I feel like, is so timely. Like this movie is like the like
visas.
Plot about visas. The plot about IVF, like the being like healthcare is really expensive.
Yes.
We're in a time where like they had to figure out how to write that Angela and Lee aren't already married.
Yeah.
Because like we have that ability now.
Yes,
so you have to explain like why
they aren't married. You can actually have like a choice to describe like their characters.
Correct.
And like,
So what I was thinking about was a number of years ago when like I think right when it was like about to be real gay marriage, right before Obergefell at the Supreme Court, and I was listening to a podcast with a queer creator that I really respect and look up to, and I remember at the time they had this take where they were like, I don't want us to be able to get married because it will make us less cool. Or like there is like a specific there's a specific thing about like we get to make our own rules our own way because we don't have to follow the heteronormative path.
And this feels just
and
like
that I think is what their point was.
Yeah. But it didn't come out that way.
It didn't come out that way. But giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But I think in retrospect, I think like I think by having gay people be able to get married in this country, which is just bonkers to even say that like there was a time like okay.
No, I know.
I think it like points out some of the kind of fallacies of like the institution and the traditions that are just like kind of laid on top of this thing because they've done it this way for forever. Like when you and I got married, there were many things that people were so willing to like just let us do whatever we wanted because we were having a gay wedding instead of a regular wedding. And our wedding, I would say, was still pretty
traditional. Yeah,
I wore a beautiful gown, beautiful gowns. No, like I mean, I wore a pink suit, so I mean that's.
I wore a blue suit. You wore a K group, G group.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a K group, G group wedding.
But I think like because of gay marriage, I also think like, or I hope maybe that like there's been some cross bleed back over onto like straight wedding side where like
they
feel more free to not be so beholden to like specific things. This movie necessarily isn't about the wedding itself. Like
the wedding is hilarious.
The wedding is amazing.
The wedding is so good.
And I love that they get so many cultural aspects. Like they're really nuanced and they're really interesting.
I think just because we inherently watch a lot of Korean drama, we picked up on a lot, which I thought was like fun to be like, wow, I'm seeing like Kelly Marie Tran and Lily Gladstone and Bowen Yang interact with like just things that we've seen on BLs. You know, it was just like really funny. But I think what I liked about what the movie was doing is ultimately you are able to create your found family.
It's a very found family film.
It does it in such a beautiful way that kind of makes you think like, it makes you think like these institutions, the way things should be, really are just things that can change.
And I think there is a level of like this film ends in a way that one could cynically look at as being very traditional.
Yeah.
But I think the film does so much work to show you that it's like all their specific choices.
Yes. They've created this. Yeah.
That's the thing that is most interesting and like what the queer community should be able to feel free to do is that they get to choose the life that they want to have. I mean, everyone should feel free to do so.
But queer people, we don't have to feel pressured of like following certain things, but then also don't feel pressure of like, if there are things that you still want, you can still fight for and like choose to have.
Yeah.
I think like obviously like having children is like very important to a lot of people, but for some people it's not. And so like, and wedding, like marriage, you know, like, so to be able to like the way they create the family that they end up at the end is just, I was very emotional. It just felt like
it's very moving.
Yeah.
It's very touching.
It just felt like that we can do this. Like this is possible.
And it felt like the end was the correct ending for the series of events.
Yeah.
I really liked this movie. Yeah. It feels like such a Sundance movie for sure.
Yeah.
Like couldn't be clearer.
Yeah, the pacing and the tone just feels very laid in. Yes. Like it just feels like, they're taking you through a story and you don't have to worry about anything, which is nice.
Yeah.
I have to shout out the two like maternal performances. So like,
of course.
Joan Chen, who plays Angela's mom May, and then obviously Yoon Yo Jung, who plays Harmony. Ja Young. I think they do a really great performance here, seeing the nuances of I cannot control what the generation after me does, and I have to understand it in my own time. And the way it pans out in the movie is just so beautiful that I think, like you said, you don't get hit with, you know, the stereotypical stories of pain, I think generationally, that I think I really, really recommend, like, if you're a children of immigrants, to be able to watch this movie and see, like, I think it's possible.
It's very cathartic.
Yes, it's very cathartic to be able to see, like, families can come together.
I think, like, what was interesting for me is, like, my family, my background, my immediate family is so open. It was
very, supportive and open, yeah.
And so when we, like, got together, and it took me a long time to, like, come to terms with the fact that, like, for many years, your parents did not even know that, like, I existed. I mean, they knew
as a roommate, basically.
I was like a person.
You were just a person.
But they didn't, and maybe they knew, but they didn't say.
Yeah,
but,
obviously.
But, yeah. I think that's, like, something that I think is also buried in this film is that, like, your personal life is personal to you in a way in for Asian Americans that, like, I as, like, a person, like, me.
I as a me.
I was always very open about my mom with being like, oh, I'm dating this person, that person, the other person. And I came out to her in freshman year of high school, which is
But you also have, like, your relationship with your mom, like, growing up, like, high school, like, you guys were very close because it was just you for those years. I cannot recommend this movie enough. Just for that soul aspect of it, they do a really good job of handling that generational healing.
Very healing.
Very healing. Very healing movie. And Yoon Yo Jung is like, I mean, she just appears in this movie and she is just...
she's a pillar. She is like 4.5 feet tall. She's the smallest woman on screen. But she is like
control.
Yes.
And
she just holds court in this movie. It's insane.
It's so good
energy,
to watch.
her energy, I don't even know how you, like, command that kind of energy. It couldn't be me. Could not be me. I am way too, like,
yeah. It was so great to watch because it was such a, her presence was such a clash.
Her presence, was a present.
Her presence was such a clash with the mess that the other four were getting into.
Yes.
Like they're de-queering the house and like
Yes.
going crazy. So it's just it's fun to watch them squirm because this petite woman from Korea is just like,
she's here
looking and staring and asking questions.
I really liked, I'm trying to think of, I just want to shout out this plot. Like, Chris has his own storyline of being a failure to launch. Angela's more specifically is tied to her unresolved issues of her mother and motherhood in general.
Yeah.
And passing I think that is like so well played and so introspective, and something that like I obviously have never thought about is like, I guess I'm like a person who like has like dad issues, but like being a father I think is so much different. So I'm sure having mom issues, and then like there is an aspect of this movie where Lily Gladstone's character Lee is the one who is going through the IVF herself. And
well, just the politics or the decision
of like
holds the baby,
who is going to carry the baby,
who is going to carry the baby. I know,
which like it's in itself starts to create the fracture of like, oh well, I thought you wanted to because you want to have a baby, and it's like, well, no, I thought we wanted to have a baby.
Yeah, I know,
and I think it's very well. I just like how it's so simply played, but I thought it was like really well handled and like really excellently portrayed by Kelly. Like I really thought like I could see how it's so easy to make your decision like, oh, then I just won't do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is it that simple?
Yeah. Whew.
And there's a lot of this movie that is like, the real theme of the movie is like compromise.
Yeah,
is like,
totally.
What are you willing to give up so that you can like be compromise is being in a relationship. You do not get everything you want.
Yeah.
And I don't think it ends in a way where I feel like the characters never got what they wanted.
Yeah.
But I was like, none of the characters are fully right and none of the characters are fully wrong. And they're all very nuanced.
Yes, they all have to meet in a place. They all have to find them.
All of them. All the characters.
Literally all of the characters.
Yes.
So it was fun to just kind of watch them push and pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie, and I
really this is like definitely one of my up there for one of my favorite like queer films for sure.
Seattle, man.
Oh,
shot in Vancouver, but
we love that Pacific Northwest look.
It was very Pacific Northwest.
So cozy.
Yeah. But I thought it was really interesting when we break out of that world, like when Min had to go to like his family's like offices, basically. It's like Netflix K-drama, like very still, very like clean. And so it was like, well, yeah, it does make the frumpy queers look bad. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There was that moment when they were de-queering the house that like just looking around and you really do like, wow, everything here is queer.
The thing I loved about it is you got to explore the whole house and see like, yes, the joke is that there's so much queer art and like queer media around, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But there's so much attention. Like the production design of this house felt so beautifully warm and lived in, and like a space of like real love lived there. I just like that this movie, I never felt scared that like it was gonna end really poorly.
Yeah.
It was just like,
even if
this is a moment in their life that we're all figuring out together. And like, it's a wedding, so it's a big deal. But it's also, I don't know. I never was scared for anybody.
Yes, totally.
Which was really nice.
I knew that no one was going to get exactly what they wanted, but like, I think that's just part of this time in your life where you realize that. Like, oh, I don't get everything I thought I would want. The last thing I'll shout out is there's this beautiful scene. So Min is getting his like graduate degree in like fashion design,
Mm.
and he for the wedding is like creating. You just see him in creating something, and then like it's pieced together later by Harmony that like he made her like the hanbok or like what to wear, and it's so beautiful. I think they do a really good job of showing that he is like able to be creative and artistic where he is, which I think is like a very like that's one of the things that you want in like a queer kind of space, like to be able to like express yourself in that way. And I don't know, I just like that really got me.
It's a very kind film.
Yeah.
It's
Bring
very
kindness
sweet.
back.
Someone's
got to, girl.
Because boy, howdy, is it rough out here.
So yes, it was nice to watch this film because, you know, our world's going to shit.
Yeah.
Our world specifically.
That's why
America.
we recommend it.
Well, yeah. So I give this, I don't know, two rainbows up, two boys loves, I don't know. Go see the movie.
This would get 2 rainbows up.
2 rainbows out.
2 rainbows out. Mama.
So I'm curious, Adam, is when we do more out at the movies, like, what's the gamut? Are we...
Okay, so I think, here's what I think we have to watch if we're to do another one. And like, we might just have to go back into the archives and watch movies that I've never seen before.
Like queer movies?
Queer or queer adjacent.
Queer adjacent, yeah.
Mama, how have I never seen Billy Elliot? I've seen the musical. I've seen it on
the
stage.
music. Yeah.
Electricity. Yeah, the whole thing.
Julie Newmar, thanks for the memories. I know that one.
Tu Wong Fu.
Tu Wong Fu.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen that one.
I've seen Ang Lee's other famous gay movie, Brokeback Mountain.
Hello.
Thank you.
Calm down. We got that one.
Robbed for an Oscar win.
Uh-huh. But there are other like movies, like if we're doing BL sphere, like there are movies that have been released that are like BL that we haven't seen. So like Monster was the big one. It's like the Japanese one, like the 2 kids.
Oh.
The P.P. Bilkin one that's coming out. That's the remake of Marry My Dead Body.
Yes, yeah.
The Red Envelope, I think.
I think it's called The Red Envelope, yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot. The queers are making movies, honey.
The queers are out here making films.
Yeah. So
we have to watch some queer movies.
we'll have to watch some queer movies. Maybe we finally use that Centurion
Criterion.
Maybe we'll finally use that Criterion membership that you got.
It's already
once and
done.
never used.
Yeah. It's over.
The Wedding Banquet is out in movie theaters now, so make sure you go and see it. Thank you so much, Bleecker Street, for letting us see the movie and talk about it today.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, we've got, we're watching BLs, we're watching survival shows, and now we're watching movies. So stay tuned for what's coming out next here at Boys Love, Boys Love. Until then, goodbye.
And we'll see you out at the movies.
Thank you, Maria.